Real Virginia is proudly produced by the Virginia Farm Bureau Federation. Since 1926, Farm Bureau has been working to preserve Virginia farms and our rural heritage. Visit our website at virginiafarmbureau.com.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia, home in my heart always.
Hello everyone and welcome to Real Virginia, a show about Virginia agriculture and the people who produce all of the wonderful products we enjoy, brought to you by the Virginia Farm Bureau.
Virginia's new Secretary of Agriculture and Forestry wants to help small farmers succeed. Now's the time to plan what to plant for hummingbirds and butterflies next summer, and a Virginia foundation helps farmers find grant money and start their own agribusinesses.
Welcome back everyone. We're here at Old House Vineyards in Culpeper County, where there is also a craft distillery on site. Now, this small farm operation got some help from the Virginia Fairs Foundation. We're going to have a story later on in the show about Virginia Fairs. But first, Dave Miller tells us the state's newest cabinet secretary wants to help small farmers make a profit.
Virginia's new Secretary of Agriculture and Forestry, Basil Gooden, still has his hand in the operation of his family farm in Buckingham County. He, his brother, and two sisters raise more than 50 head of black Angus beef cattle, and he does most of the work in the field. But he values the opportunity to reconnect with his past.
Being raised here on this farm and in this community really instilled me with so many values. We are located on Shelton Store Road here in Buckingham County, and Shelton Store Road is named after my grandparents who owned a country store here right down the road. And growing up, I could see how vital and how important that country store was to this community. And people from all over came to this country store, blacks, whites, everybody who lived in this community. And it made a big impact in the development of this community. So that's the spirit that I was raised in, seeing how my grandparents gave to this community. My parents were educators.
From those rural roots, Gooden rose to earn a Ph.D. in public health. Before his appointment, he was a leader in the Virginia Department of Housing and Community Development and served as Virginia head of the USDA's Rural Development Office. This background and experience gave him a passion for helping farmers and rural Virginians become financially successful. The state has just announced a new farm and business development program for small and mid-sized farms, typically one or two persons, or an agribusiness of no more than 20 employees. Gooden says the grants are meant to help them do in-depth business planning.
Making sure that the small farmer will have an opportunity to be able to sell their goods and commodities to these bigger businesses or even internationally. So what we're looking at is developing the capacity of farmers on the business side so they could really take advantage of new markets, whether it's domestic markets or international markets.
Virginia's farm and forestry sectors are still the largest in the state's economy, worth about $70 billion each year. In recent years, another grant program focused helping ag and forest-related businesses grow. Those grants help boost the overall farm economy. But Gooden says the new VDAX grant program is a better fit for many producers.
The Virginia Farm Business Development Program, farmers focus so much on being the best farmer that they can be, whether it's their crops or the livestock that they produce. This program is a grant up to $5,000 that will allow farmers to focus on the business aspect of their operation, whether it's developing a marketing plan, doing more online selling of their commodities, to have a presence online. But a big issue that I am very concerned about, and this grant could be utilized for, is farm succession planning or forest succession planning. That's a significant issue here in the Commonwealth of Virginia because the average age of farmers here in the Commonwealth is about 59 years old.
Grants like these can even be used to set up family trusts to make sure the farm stays in the family for generations to come. While promoting the huge industries of agriculture and forestry is a key role for him, it's safe to say Gooden's heart is still with the small farmer. In Buckingham County, this is Dave Miller.
While President Lincoln helped create the U.S. Department of Agriculture in 1862, the head of that department wasn't a cabinet minister until 1889. That's when Norman Coleman of Missouri held the post for a month under President Cleveland. More than a century later, Virginia created a Secretary of Agriculture post. Although farming is a major part of the state's economy, and the Virginia Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services was created in 1877, the state's first secretary wasn't appointed until the end of 2004. Robert Bloxham held the post for 6 years. Basil Gooden is Virginia's third secretary, following Todd Haymore.
I'm Mark Viette. Coming up on In the Garden, I'm going to talk about how you can enjoy butterflies and hummingbirds right in your own backyard. Stay with us.
Looking for these? You drive Buzzed. It could be one very expensive ride.
First, you gotta make bail. Then pay me to get your car back.
Your insurance premiums will go through the roof.
And my legal fees just keep adding up. All told, it could end up costing you $10,000.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Winter is the time of year that most gardeners dream of what they will plant in the spring to see bloom by the summer. And if those dreams include butterflies and hummingbirds, Mark Viette has some suggestions in the garden.
Think about creating a habitat for butterflies and hummingbirds in an area that not only they enjoy, but an area that you can enjoy. And it would be just like here on this patio right outside the back of the house. And you can surround your patio with plants that wildlife enjoys. One of my favorite plants right here is Salvia black and blue. Out of all the plants that you could probably plant, it's the #1 plant that will attract more hummingbirds than anything else. And this plant really starts blooming late in the season, and for those of us who live in very cold areas, you may have to bring it in the winter and protect it, but you could just be sitting right here on a patio, relaxing, and if you wait long enough, the hummingbirds will come within 3 feet of where you're sitting. There are other plants that will also attract hummingbirds and butterflies, like butterfly shrubs, which is right behind this plant here. Some other great plants to consider would be the variety called White Profusion, which is a pure white butterfly bush. In a lot of the research that they've done, they have found that this white form of the butterfly bush attracts more butterflies and hummingbirds than the other types. And right here, around the base of the rock garden wall, it's another plant that's called plumbago, and it's Ceratostigma plumbaginoides. It's a hardy perennial, comes back every year. And just a few minutes ago, there was a sphinx moth. Now, I've always called them hummingbird moths. They look like baby hummingbirds, but really it's a moth. But these are great garden plants that you can incorporate throughout your garden, because remember, hummingbirds tend to be territorial. So you want lots of these plants, so you have a lot of food sources for the wildlife. There is a wide variety of plants that you can plant in your garden. I have found to attract more butterflies, you might want to plant long, narrow beds, maybe 10 feet long, could even be 20 feet long, but it might only be 3 or 4 feet wide. The butterflies love to travel up and down the same exact plant when it's in full bloom. Consider planting some fall blooming asters for butterflies. Now again, you're going to be able to attract fritillarias, mourning cloaks, monarchs, swallowtails, sulfur butterflies, and in addition, of course, the sphinx moth and the hummingbirds. One of my favorite plants here is known as the summer blooming phlox. It blooms pretty much July, August, September, October, almost until frost. Even pollinators like the carpenter bees love this perennial flower. Remember, it's easy to plant a hummingbird and butterfly garden right in your own backyard. I'm Mark Viette. Join me next time in the garden.
For more garden tips, go to inthegardenradio.com.
Are you ready to celebrate the new year with style and taste? Chef John Maxwell starts us off right with a new twist on an old favorite next in the heart of the home.
From our farms to your table. Virginia dairy farm families are dedicated to providing your family with nutritious, high-quality milk.
I'm Dan Myers, a fifth-generation dairy farmer from Virginia.
I'm Roy Vanderhyde, a first-generation dairy farmer from Virginia.
I'm Gerald Heatwolf, a third-generation dairy farmer from Virginia.
I am dedicated to dairy, my cows,
my milk,
and our land.
Black-eyed peas are a traditional New Year's dish in Virginia and other southern states. Chef John Maxwell joins us today with a fresh new twist for this recipe in the heart of the home.
Hi, welcome to Heart of the Home. We're here at Meadow Hall in Meadow Event Park in Doswell, Virginia, and we get to play with great Virginia food every week. So today we're going to be making a black-eyed pea salad. It's really nice, kind of like a salsa, kind of like a salad, but it's really, really a lot of fun. And we're going to put that over some cornbread. All right, so we're going to start the cornbread first. I've got some cream here with some butter in it, getting hot. In here I've got a mix of cornmeal and flour. Now for the actual proportions of all of this, go to my website at chefjohnmaxwell.com, right, and you can get the recipe and print it out if you'd like. But I'm going to mix this up, the cornmeal and the flour, right, and I'm going to take and add a little bit of salt, a little bit of baking powder, right, and a little bit of sugar. I'm going to mix this all up. Now this is just about ready. All I want to do is melt this butter in here. I've got the milk product, the cream, and the butter in here, and now that's melted. Now it's hot, and I'm going to pour it into this flour mix and let it bloom. Bloom means that the grains of cornmeal and flour will absorb the liquid and get a little bit thicker, right? So I'm going to add that in here. All right. Going to add it that way, turn this off, and mix this up. And we're just going to hold that for a second, let it kind of absorb all of that liquids. And now we're going to add a couple of eggs. I'm going to add these one at a time and mix it in. Since this is a hot mixture, I don't want to crack my eggs into it all at once, because then the yolks will start to cook, or the whites will start to cook, and it'll affect the way this works. All right. You see how smooth that's getting? One more in there. All right. And get that mixed in. And that's all I need to do to this. Now I'm going to put it into a buttered pan. All right. And this is one of my favorite pans. I got this when I was in Korea. It's called a dolsot, and it's used in Korean cooking a lot, but this stoneware works really good for things like cornbread. So I'm going to add this to it. And get this into a hot oven, about 400 degrees, for anywhere from 18 to 25 minutes. All right, that cornbread is almost ready, so while we're waiting on that, we're going to go ahead and make this salad. All right, so I've got a pan here, right, that I'm going to put all these vegetables in. I'm going to start out with black-eyed peas. Now, I like to use frozen black-eyed peas or fresh black-eyed peas. Canned peas sometimes fall apart. They get those little pieces of black hull in them that make my salad look a little messy. They're fine. They're very good. They got good flavor, but neatness counts to me. So I've got these black-eyed peas. I bought frozen, and then I blanched them off. Right? Now I'm going to add some celery. About 2 cups of celery. I'm going to add some red pepper, some green onion, some cilantro, a little bit of jalapeno pepper, and I'm going to make a salad dressing now to go on these. Get rid of all of this stuff so I don't get yelled at. My dressing is going to be really a basic oil and vinegar dressing. So I'm going to start out with a little bit of olive oil. I'm using some Spanish olive oil because it's nice and floral. And I like that in this particular dressing. There's a lot of earthiness to the black-eyed peas, so I don't want a real earthy oil for that. So I've got that. The recipe calls for white vinegar. Or you can use any kind of vinegar that you want really in here. Right? I'm going to be using a sushi vinegar. Sushi vinegar has a little bit of sugar in it, right, that helps with the flavor. It softens it up a little bit, and it's going to go nicely with this. So I'm going to add that in there. I'm going to add some celery seed here. All right. Some sugar. All right. A little bit of mustard powder. Some pepper and some salt. I'm going to whisk this up, make sure everything's blended nicely. All right, now I'm going to pour that over the, you can see the thickness here. Just pour that in there and mix it up. This is a very complicated recipe. Get it all mixed so that it's got all that color, confetti-like in there. Now, I have to taste it. I don't know. I have to taste some more. Just to make sure. That's very good. All right, so we're all set on this. Let's see if that cornbread is ready yet. When it is, we'll get set up. Doesn't that look beautiful? It smells gorgeous. All right, I'm gonna cut a couple of wedges out of here. All right, and put these down. Ooh, ooh, ooh. That's hot. So I've got 2 pieces of cornbread in here. And now I'm going to take this black-eyed pea salsa and put it on there. Get plenty of it in there. And there we've got it. Move it over here so everybody can see it good. All right. So that's cornbread and black-eyed pea salsa, just in time for New Year's and for the holidays. So it also makes a really good dish for Super Bowl. Every week, we make recipes using great Virginia-grown food. We make them in our kitchen so you can make them in your kitchen. Join us next week on Heart of the Home when we get to play with more great Virginia food.
Recipes from the Heart of the Home can be found on Chef Maxwell's website, chefjohnmaxwell.com. While eating black-eyed peas on New Year's Day is an old Southern tradition, there are plenty of other lucky New Year's foods from around the world. In Spain and Portugal, it's traditional to eat 12 grapes at midnight. Stewed kale sprinkled with sugar and cinnamon is popular in Denmark. Germans consume sauerkraut, and Americans serve collard greens. The folded leaves of the greens are meant to represent money and prosperity in the new year. Pork is a popular dish in Cuba, Spain, Portugal, Hungary, and Austria, as well as the U.S., and fish is extremely popular for New Year's feasts around the world.
Earlier in our show, we told you about a state program that helps small farmers with their business plans. Turns out there's been an independent foundation doing similar work for the past 12 years.
Virginia Fairs is an acronym for Virginia Foundation for Agriculture, Innovation, and Rural Sustainability. It was established in 2005 with the help of the Virginia Farm Bureau Federation. The foundation offers technical assistance, runs software programs, performs feasibility studies, and provides business plans to help farmers move from just raising products to adding value to them, or to expand their value-added production.
For instance, if somebody was producing grapes, if they were just selling their grapes to a winery, they would just get the price of the grapes. Well, we would help them look at, say, if they wanted to put in a winery themselves, what would it cost to put in the winery? Well, they'd probably spend about $1 million putting in the winery. Well, if they spent that $1 million, and then how much money would they make out of it if they spent the $1 million? Would they actually make money at the end of it after they spent the $1 million? So we help them look at the whole business and then make a decision on a piece of paper before they actually spend that $1 million in real life moving forward.
In the last 3 years, Virginia Fairs has worked with more than 100 producers to develop 45 business plans and apply for more than 40 grants. To date, it has helped bring $6 million to the Old Dominion countryside. Virginia farmers produce a wide variety of agricultural products, but it's rare for any one farmer to produce large volumes of any one crop or commodity. And that means that they're at the mercy of the world market determining how low a price may go. That's why it's fairly common for a Virginia producer to work a second job off the farm. Virginia Fairs hopes to make it easier for farmers to give up that second job and stay on the farm full time.
We work with anybody and everybody. I mean, we are inclusive, not exclusive. We work with small farmers, big producers, small producers, you name it, we'll work with them. Small groups, big groups, you know, that's what we're here for. We're here to help people either transition from commodity production or to expand their value-added business that they already have.
What can farmers do to add value? Cook sees a huge potential for locally grown products. Consumers are demanding more and more information about their food. Cook says they want to know, did it come from Virginia? Did it come from Mexico? Where did it come from in the world? They want to know who produced it.
A lot of people call me and say, Chris, I've got an idea. Can you help me transition that idea from my brain onto a piece of paper and into a business? That's where they can truly start from an idea. We do business development, that's what we do. And at the end of the rainbow, you know, the carrot at the end there, the gold pot, there is a grant. Anything up to $250,000. So there is quite a big pot there. And, you know, it's there to be had. And we try to help people get to there.
To contact Chris Cook and Virginia Fairs, you can go online to their website, vafairs.com, or you can call directly at 804-290-1111. Cook says they're ready to help develop your farming idea into a concept and then into a business if the potential is there.
That's going to do it for this edition of Real Virginia. We are so glad you could join us to celebrate the bounty Virginia has to offer. Whether it's in your home, your garden, or your landscape, we are proud to say that this is Real Virginia. So for everyone from the Virginia Farm Bureau, thanks for watching. Make it a good week.
Chesapeake Bay.